Hey everyone. Yeah, it's about 12:25. I've got about 24 minutes before I have to go back in, or 34 minutes if you add the 10-minute addition, or 10-minute over limit. But I thought I'd come on here real quickly, if you will, and kind of give my theories on what's going on with two things a lot of fans are talking about. Depending if the fans are both, depending if the fans are just one or the other. I'm here to give you my thoughts and theories from what I've seen and heard on behalf of other people out there. Now, if you're a fan of Lucha Underground, you know that season four right now is in progress. It's currently airing as we speak, in progress on El Rey Network. When it and season 3 will show up on Netflix is anybody's guess. But right now, season 4 is on El Rey Network. And apparently, this seems to be more supernatural and darker than any other seasons we've had. Violent-wise, we haven't yet gotten there, as far as I know. I think the closest we've gotten there is Graver Consequences, but that's about it. However, a lot has gone down in just 4 episodes. But according to people like Dalyxman, that's just the meat. That's just an appetizer, I should say, of basically according to people like Dalyxman, that's just an appetizer of what's to come. Apparently, there's about 20-something episodes, 24 episodes, something like that. And what we're getting so far is just an appetizer. And that what is planned later on really is going to probably take us by surprise. Now, the one thing about the Lucha Underground spoilers is they don't spoil. Even though people will spoil the matches and exactly what happens up to the Ultima Lucha 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, Ultima Lucha 4. As far, even though they'll spoil up to then, they can't spoil like the behind the scenes segments and stuff, because we don't really know what's happening there, to be honest. We don't know what's happening with Ultima Lucha, with the segments, pretty much the crime noir, NCIS, segments. We don't know the crime noir, like I said, the NCIS, soprano like kind of segments. We don't know what's going on there. We really don't. Because as far as we know, if we're just reading spoilers, all we're reading about is what's going on in the ring, with the in-ring action. But a lot has gone down. It seems that Dario Cueto, just to catch you guys up, is dead. He was shot at the end of season 3, and he's dead. Thus, his father, Antonio Cueto, has taken over and has relocated the Lucha Underground, to a new temple, to a place that he used to run other businesses out of, a warehouse he used to run other businesses out of. Now he has Lucha Underground residing there. We've also seen the debut on several occasions. We don't know if they're just one-offs or they're going to make sporadic appearances here and there. But we have seen the debuts of Jack Swagger as Jake Strong, who's also going to be going under a different name. I don't know how they're going to do that. We don't know if he's going to go through some kind of ritual, or he's just going to rename himself because of his new occupation he's going to have. We don't know. But Jack Swagger is now Jake Strong, the Savage Jake Strong. But that's not going to be for too long, as far as I know. I don't want to give too much away there, but apparently his name is going to change. He's going to have a name change. Now, that's not the only thing that's happened out there on the show so far, just to catch you guys up. We did have, like I said, our first Grave Consequences match of the year, which is one of our first wild, out-of-control matches of the year. And for the first time ever, and I think the first time in any wrestling promotion or promotional league, it was a triple threat Grave Consequences triple threat casket match, which Mil Morentes won by stealing Jeremiah Crane and Phoenix both into the caskets. Now, what's funny about this, in case you guys don't know, it seems that AAA and thus the Lucha Underground portion of it have a deal with Impact Wrestling. So even though you won't see Phoenix on Lucha Underground that much anymore, or even Jeremiah Crane, you could still see them on Impact as Ray Phoenix and Sami Callihan. You'll still see them there. That's something, in case you're a Lucha Underground fan and you're not too sure about Impact, you should tune in and see that. That might gain your interest, if you will. But, long story short, there's a story arc going on that Katrina, she's basically a witch that's half dead, half alive, half dead. So she's on the borderline of both the living and the dead, but she wants to be alive. So by having Mil Morentes win Grave Consequences, as I was saying, by having Mil Morentes win, hold on, sorry about that, but apparently, like I said, Phoenix didn't win Grave Consequences, so in the recent episode, Katrina was able to suck the soul out of Phoenix, and thus now she's among the living, and she, I guess, is a way of feeling sorry or apologizing for what happened to Phoenix, gives a distraught Melissa Santos half of a medallion, the other half belonging to her mother, that being Katrina's mother, who's a detective on the police force. I don't know whose it belongs to, whose mother it is. Either it's Melissa's or Katrina's, I don't know. Who's a detective on the police force. But anyway, long story short, Melissa now has this medallion, half of this medallion in her hand. And that, to me, in my opinion, is going to play a huge part. Because one thing Dalyxman has said, when he reviews these, he does live streams on these, he has basically said that Melissa Santos is being set up for a big role, big part in Lucha Underground. Now, will we see Melissa Santos for the rest of the season? Probably not. We don't really know. I mean, how can you continue to do your job knowing that the person you loved is gone, and that the Katrina that stands before you in this now red dress is basically wearing this red dress because it contains the essence of Phoenix. Because here's what she sucks. Here's the thing: she sucks the life out of Phoenix, and she becomes mortal, and she gets this red dress. Hold on. Well, like I said, she gets this red dress as a result when she kind of becomes mortal again. That's the red dress representing Phoenix's soul. So Phoenix's soul is now part of her. But my theory is it's not going to be for long, because I think what's going to happen is Melissa Santos is going to get some power herself. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I get this theory, but I believe Melissa Santos might be a little bit more than what we think. And she might have some kind of power hidden inside of her. I'm always thinking she probably has some goddess of light power. And that's what's going to help play a role in this, because we do see a scene in the trailer where the now alive Katrina is falling. So you gotta wonder if that's playing into the fact that not only is she falling probably to her death again, but she's falling out from being mortal. She's now going back to being in between realms or something. We don't really know. But we do know they're gonna have a scuffle, a fight. in the police station, apparently, or somewhere in the temple, in the new temple, down the line. We do know that the Gift of the Gods tournament, in a sense, has now begun. Basically, the quotation on tournament is the fact that whoever wins these matches gets a medallion, and they advance into essentially a battle royal, which is won by pinfall or submission only. And the winner of that battle royal gets a Gift of the Gods championship, which is essentially like the Money in the Bank briefcase, which allows them to have a championship shot anytime they want. So, anyway, King Cueno has gotten a medallion by beating Chavo Guerrero, and we're going to find out next week between Mil Muertes and Brian Cage who gets the other medallion. And again, you can also see Brian Cage on Impact Wrestling, where he's being pushed to the freaking moon. So yeah, there's a lot. You want Impact Wrestling and you want to know what Lucha Underground has to offer? Look at Brian Cage, look at Phoenix, look at Pentagon Jr., Pentagon Dark, if you will. Look at them and tell me that won't intrigue you to at least tune in to Impact Wrestling. Because you can see these guys there if you can't get enough of your Lucha Underground. Now, my theory though, now the other things that have happened is Cueno seems to be playing up, I don't know, it seems to be, to me, I can, just from what Dalyxman is saying, I could just put the pieces here together. It seems Cueno knows where the gauntlet is. He says the gauntlet was stolen or was given to someone for safekeeping. He says, because he tells Katrina, oh, I gave it to someone for safekeeping. Then he tells Antonio Cueto someone stole it. So apparently he's playing both sides because he knows if either one gets it, there's going to be trouble. And one thing we've been hinted at with this season is time travel. So could he have used it to go back in time and hide it there? We don't know, because we do see Johnny Mundo, aka Johnny Impact, John Morrison if you will, have the gauntlet in the trailer. How does that happen? We don't know. Now we also know that there's a rivalry, a feud going on between the Reptile Tribe led by Cobra Moon and the Worldwide Underground. But here's what's interesting. Morrison left Taya and PJ Black to be dismantled after the 6-man tag and showed no remorse. We kind of get a clue that this doll that Ricky Mundo has come into possession of has some kind of power. It's like possessed. It's an evil possessed doll. Some people like, Dalyxman has even said it's similar to what people have described Annabelle, that evil possessed thing, to be. So basically you have this evil possessed doll controlling the Worldwide Underground, controlling certain members, mostly controlling Ricky Mundo. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays into this whole thing between the Worldwide Underground and the Reptile Tribe. Because could the Reptile Tribe, mostly Cobra Moon, be the one that put that possessed doll in the grasp of the Worldwide Underground, or not? And I've always had this theory that perhaps if Cobra Moon's the one behind that possessed doll, that she's doing it because she wants to create a bigger Reptile Tribe, because maybe there's history between the Reptile Tribe and the Cuetos. Like maybe the Cuetos in the past were servants to the Reptile Tribe, but the only reason they're no longer servants is because they stole something that belonged to the Reptile Tribe. And could that something been the medallions of the Gift of the Gods? Makes you think, makes you wonder. The other thing that happened as well, just to get you guys up to date, the other thing that occurred was Matanza crushed the key that was keeping the human portion of his soul, the human part of his basically the human soul of who he was, the human portion of who he was alive. Basically, Antonio Cueto said, look, you lost. I'm disappointed, but I know you could be what you need to be, but you got to get rid of this human side, this humanity of yours. So he gives him the key that Dario Cueto always used to use to keep Matanza under control, and he allows Matanza to crush it, and thus crush the human portion that kept that humanity within Matanza alive. He crushed it, thus he crushed the humanity part, the human part. And now he's just a monster. He's now just the monstrous god, Matanza. And how is this exampled? Jesse Goddard now works for Lucha Underground, works for AAA, ends up having a match against Matanza. Well, not much of a match, more like a squickety squash. Gets laid out. Then Matanza apparently raises his arms like this, according to what Dalyxman says. Lights go out, and when the lights go on, Jesse Goddard, Mr. Spectacular, Jesse Goddard is gone. He's just out of the ring. He's disappeared. And the reason for that is he got sacrificed to the gods. He is now no more. And that's one thing a lot of people have liked about Lucha Underground. Yes, it's a wrestling show, but its story arcs actually have consequences for certain superstars. Like if a star is only there temporarily and then they're going to move on to other things, how do you get rid of them? You don't do loser leaves town. You either do grave consequences, or now in this case, a freaking sacrificial match, or match of sacrifice to get rid of them, or to write them out. Now, with that said, what is next for Lucha Underground? Well, in my opinion, I look at it like this. Everything we're getting, I do agree with Dalyxman, it's just like an appetizer, but we're getting clues. But we're getting clues as to things that are going to probably happen midway through the season, and are going to happen towards the finale. Basically, what we're getting now, the appetizer, is just setting us up for that full course meal that begins at the end of the mid-season. At the end of the mid-season, we're going to get basically an idea of where the rest of the season's going to go. For example, Antonio Cueto, letting the monstrous god, that monstrous god side of Matanza, the monstrous god Matanza, to take full control of the body he's in. Something tells me that's going to come back to haunt him. It's going to come back to backfire on him. Now, other things. Like I said, Melissa Santos, apparently, as Dalyxman has pointed out, and others have pointed out, it looks like they're setting her up for a major role, a major part later on to bring Phoenix back. And what I think is going to happen, and I've always had this theory, Melissa Santos, she has that one half of whatever that thing is that Katrina gave her. And Katrina's mom, Melissa's mom, whoever's mom it is, in the police force has the other half. So what if she uses that and becomes some kind of goddess? Like she gets some kind of goddess-like powers that she's able to use against Katrina, exact the life force of Phoenix out of her and place it back into Phoenix, and now Katrina's back between the living and the dead. Something tells me season 4 is going to be the last time we see Katrina. Because look at it this way. Katrina, for 3 seasons prior, has been waiting for this moment. Now she's got it. Now, what do you do to finish it off? Simple. You either take that away from her, put her back between the land of the living and dead, where she's walking that fine line, or you basically take away that soul, or take back Phoenix's soul, and then what do? You probably take away what's left of her humanity or her soul, and you end her. I mean, what's going to happen? Is she going to turn to dust like we've seen in some of the Marvel movies? Is she going to wither away into a skeleton? Who knows? Get sucked into a vortex? We don't know. Get dragged underground? We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do between Melissa and Katrina, but something tells me it's not going to end well for Katrina. And we're going to find out that maybe Melissa has some kind of power hidden inside of her that she doesn't know about. And the moment's just approaching to where that power is going to awake. That being, that maybe, that godlike being or goddess-like being inside of her is going to awake and take out Katrina. And bring light, maybe, ultimately, to the temple. And take out not just Katrina, but take out any other parts of darkness that surround that temple, like Matanza, Antonio Cueto, who knows? And, you know, and another theory that Dalyxman has had is Antonio Cueto could be Darius Cueto, and that Dario Cueto that we saw in the casket is a fake. And that might be true. And if it's true, of course he's going to want to do a lot of things to show that, hey, I'm not Dario Cueto. But if that is the case, hey, when is the reveal going to happen? When is the reveal going to happen? Can you imagine that guy that shot him suddenly coming in and seeing, walking into Antonio Cueto's office, seeing him put on a wig, and then noticing that slick back hair that he knows is Dario Cueto's? Imagine the reaction we're going to get from that, like, well, I thought I killed you kind of deal. And then maybe you can have Dario Cueto turn around and go like, as you said before, I have friends in high places, especially those that know how to make realistic mannequins. So, there you go. That could happen too. Or if there's time travel involved, maybe they go back in time and prevent the death from happening. We don't know. A lot of stuff is coming into play. A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff could happen. Like I said, I'm letting the god Matanza take full control now. Letting that humanity that was remaining in him, keeping him human, be gone. I got a feeling it's going to come back to backfire on Cueto. And again, Melissa Santos' situation, I think honestly, she's unknowingly the host of some kind of goddess. There's some kind of goddess-like being hidden within her that's waiting for the opportunity to come out, unleash the power against the likes of Katrina and any other darkness around her. Mostly Katrina, because maybe this goddess knows about what Katrina has done in the past. Knows what Katrina has done in the past and doesn't want her to do it again and wants to prevent her from doing it again. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? We also have, like I say, the whole thing with the possessed doll and the Worldwide Underground. Something tells me either that possessed doll is like the ultimate bringer of darkness, that even if Cueto finds out about it or learns about it, it's going to be like, get that thing out of my temple. Because that thing's too powerful. That thing has a darkness inside of it that none of us know. None of us should dare be around. Or was that doll brought to life by some kind of power that the reptile tribe has? And speaking of tribes, what about the rabbit tribe? Could they've been behind the possessed doll? We don't know. The rabbit tribe is yet to return, and yet they're supposed to go into Wonderland and then come out all... I mean, apparently they go into Wonderland, all dressed in white, and then they come out and they're all dark now and they're all covered in blood and stuff, and it's like, what the heck's going on here? So do they have a role to play in this situation with the Worldwide Underground and that doll, and maybe even the reptile tribe? We don't know. We don't know. But I will say this. Lucha Underground is really getting interesting. I haven't seen all the episodes yet, but maybe I should. But maybe I should start doing so. But my theories, just from what I've heard Dalyxman talk about, and others have talked about, I think kind of fit the bill as to what we're going to get. It really does. I mean, we already already the spoilers out there up to Ultima Lucha Quattro. But that's about it. We don't know what the segments are that are going to lead into these situations. We don't know how Jack Swagger's Jake Strong character is going to go to the new gimmick he's going to have, which sounds like the gimmick of a hitman-like character. Hitman, not hitman like wrestler. We're talking hitman like in Hitman the game kind of deal. You kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. But the point is, we don't know what's next. We don't know what's next. We don't know. Wrestling-wise, if you read the spoilers, match-wise and stuff, we know what's next. But segment-wise and how this all ties in, we don't know. We don't know how it's all going to tie in. We don't know, how certain things are going to turn about. We really don't. But I will say this: whatever happens, Ultima Lucha Quattro, and what people are saying about it now is something. Only imagine what it's going to look like when you see it on television. But that's all I'm really going to say on it, folks. On my theories of what's to come, and my theories for the rest of Lucha Underground Season 4. Let me know what you guys think down below. Dalyxman, I would like to hear from you guys, more specifically, what your thoughts are on my theories. Let me know down below what you all think about that. I got to get back into work, maybe grab something quick to eat as well before I clock in. But let me know what you guys all think about it. And I will talk to you all later. Sorry for the wind a little bit. But let me know what you guys think. And I am out. God bless. Take care. But those are just my theories. Again, I'd like to hear from all of you. Take your time in watching this, hopefully. Or hopefully you've taken your time in watching this. And Dalyxman, I'd like to hear from you again. I'd like to hear your thoughts on my theories in a video response if you want, if you can take the time to do that, or if you got the time to do that. Let me know what you guys think though down below. Comment if you like, and I'm out.